going to freestyle, literally just going to freestyle with this coaching session, and let's just see where it takes us, because really what we're aiming for is we're looking for some kind of transformation within you, whether it's a subtle shift, whether it's just an even deeper level of awareness and realization, or a pivot in some way, shape or form. But let's just see what unfolds in the session.
Okay.
I always start a session by saying, and I know we've just had a brief chat about outcomes and things, and but we kind of always want to have a bit of a focus point on where we want to navigate the session to, so it just doesn't become like this spiral of we go into a void and we don't really know what we're looking for. If by the end of this session, how would you like to feel compared to how you might feel now about a certain situation, or just where you are in general?
Probably just a bit more optimism and clarity that what I'm doing is right for me, and kind of right for where I want to be and what I want to be doing, and yeah, just feeling kind of a bit more settled around it.
When you say what you want to be doing and what you are doing, what do you mean specifically?
So I've set up Healistic, and I'm running Healistic, and I'm kind of going on this new adventure at the moment, going down the spiritual coaching route. And the ideal is for me to be able to use that as kind of this platform, really, off what I'm doing at the moment in terms of the energy healing work. But it's scary, isn't it? It's when it's new like this, and it's something completely different to what the last 9 years of my career's been. It's that just unsettling feeling that I keep getting pangs out. They kind of keeps coming back, like, am I doing, am I doing the right thing? Because it's a big jump. So yeah.
Am I doing the right thing? How do you feel when you hear yourself say that?
Well, part of me is really excited, and I love what I do, and I'm, I get a real buzz from doing the energy and the Healistic and the Reiki work. And actually the idea then of being able to do the coaching alongside is something that I am really passionate about, and I really do want to kind of educate other people and kind of coach people along the way in terms of, as well, just the experience and the background and the kind of the upbringing that I had around spirituality. So if I can really merge the two, that's something that I'm really passionate about. Am I doing the right thing is because it's just this, I think it's an inner concern that I'm somebody that likes to be very good at what they do, and I always strive to kind of be the best at what I do or get to the top of my career. And I've been in a career for the last 9 years where you can statistically see whether or not you're the best or not. So you've got kind of something that you can measure your success against. I think going into something like, not going into something, but knowing whether or not energy healing is a success, that's, I think, am I doing the right thing? Because you can't almost measure that until you have your clients and your base and you've kind of built up this reputation. And that's what kind of just nerves me, because I know I will put in all the effort to get there and to do it, and I will put in the hard work and the hours and do whatever I can. But it's almost that, because I'm right at the start of my journey, it's just unnerving. And it's a confidence thing, I know.
What's underneath then, Kat? I'm hearing a couple of things come through, but what's underneath that statement, am I doing the right thing? What's really at the root of that?
So again, I think it's a confidence piece, really. It is, this is something that I want to, in my dream world and my goal is to have this as a full-time career, and to wind down recruitment and to wind this up and to make this actually something that I can do 9 to 5, well, not 9 to 5, but full-time. And it's having the confidence to believe that I can do that. So it's just it's like a reassurance piece, really, and it's just that self-doubt. Yeah.
Okay, so you look like you're having a few little moments of processing and hearing your own words. What's going on for you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what.
Yeah, when I talk about things, because I know I've said in a few of my pieces that I wrote and my activities that I've done, I don't normally talk about myself, so I don't normally process my emotions outwardly. I've always been a bit of a closed book, if I'm honest, and this has been a massive learning curve in that respect, and a learning curve that I've loved it, and I am loving it, and although it is terrifying, I can really see the change in me already, and that change, and I think it's almost just that change it's new and it is scary for me. This isn't who I've been for the last 30 years. And I'm now becoming this more open person, and I'm really wanting to go down this healing route and this spiritual route, and it's just almost like a disconnect between who I was 12 months ago and who I am now. And I think that's what just is that it's almost a bit of a shock and a process, for me to process that is just a bit of a shock, and just has been a bit unsettling. But I'm coming around to the idea. I'm not coming around to the idea. I love the idea of who I am, like who I am becoming. But it's, I feel like I've kind of almost like broken myself down, and I'm now rebuilding me as this new person. And it just is quite an unsettling process, if I'm honest.
Of course, it's the caterpillar going through that whole kind of metamorphosis stage to come out the other side transformed. What I'm hearing you saying is, and just for the benefit of people watching, you're taking the Master Diploma in Spiritual Life Coaching and Energy Psychology with the Soul Awakening Academy. And this is, I always say to people when they start the course, this is about you going through your own transformation first, to walk that walk, to share that experience with your clients, because they'll go through the same transformation when they work with you. And one of the things there's a couple of questions that I want to ask you, but just picking up on what you're saying, one of the questions is how do you measure your success? And you've already said you do that with statistics, because in the role that you've been in for such a while, you can clearly see statistics prove who's doing the best job and who's not.
Yeah.
When you're going into this healing arena where there aren't those stats to measure yourself by, it's very much of a personal connection you're making, and it's not you particularly who's making that happen, it's just you facilitating the client's own transformation. You're not particularly in control of those results, because that's down to the client. Yes, you play a part, but you're not responsible 100% for it. They're responsible for their own change. So it's like, how do you then measure your success when you're so used to it, having a statistic to prove it? And it's almost how are you going to rank yourself? How do you assess yourself? And does your current role and the skills and the measurement process serve you going into this healing paradigm? Or does it not serve you? Is this new you that you're stepping into, which is very much about self-discovery, it's about opening up, it's about trust, it's about really processing your own emotions and becoming insightful, is that more serving towards this new you that you're stepping into?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way I am viewing things now, and even just like the feedback that I get from clients now, and the testimonials that they've given, and the videos that they just like put on Instagram on their stories, like I definitely feel that although that's not a measurable, it's not like I can score it out of 10 or I can kind of put a figure on it, I get a lot more satisfaction in hearing those and seeing those and being part of that than I ever have felt in having this financial reward in a, you know, in the sales business that I've been in. So statistics side, I don't think is something that I need to serve me moving forward. It's just, I think, again, it's stepping into this whole like unknown area of, you know, how do you know you're doing a good job? How do you know that your clients are getting like kind of the best out of you, and kind of achieving as much as they can be in terms of the process and their actual, like, you know, healing journeys as well. So, but
let me just share what's coming through to you, and see if this comes through to me for you, if this resonates with you anyway. What keeps coming through to me to ask you? I just want you to ponder on this and take your time, just sit with it. But what is that feeling around the fear about what you will fail to deliver? What's failing to deliver mean to you in this situation?
And this is, I know, an issue that I've had like ever since the start, and actually initially before I started this course, I sought out coaching for myself, just in terms of my business, actually, because because the fear of failure is definitely something that keeps coming up and cropping up. And I think because I've always been part of a business or a career or a job that you're almost a bit of a cog in a wheel, that you know, you're behind a big like corporate brand, and you kind of just fit into a team. The success, it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you kind of get there eventually. I think when it's you doing it as your own business, it's almost this added pressure that if it fails because of me, because of nobody else, but because of me, my ability, my efforts. And I think that is probably the scariest thing, because I don't like to fail. Like I said, I like to get to the top of my game. I've always worked hard to achieve as much as I can. And when it's almost not, so the idea of success for me is actually seeing people come through a healing journey and come out the other side. That's not necessarily something that, like you said, I'm not actually responsible for that in some respects. So it's almost this a bit of like a control thing, where you have to kind of let this control go and just really do everything that I can for others, and hope that, you know, that can encourage them to embrace their own journey, and the success comes that way. I think.
So what will you fail? What will you fail to deliver? What's this fear around, the biggest fear that you have around failing to deliver? What is that?
The biggest fear I have is knowing how I feel and how I am as a person now versus how I was back at the start of this year. I literally feel like I actually feel almost as if I can't go back to that career. I have become so disassociated with that, and kind of how it operates, and the morals and the values and the ethics behind it, that the fear is, if I can't make this work in terms of something that I know is like true to me and true to myself, then I'm going to have to put back on this blooming face and facade and go back into something that just isn't going to sit true to who I am. And it's then putting this, I think for 20 odd years, you know, doing the work around the archetypes and kind of having this like mask on, I can see now that I've been cruising through life actually with quite a strong front on. And since embracing my own journey, I've broken that down, and I kind of feel like my true self's come out. And the idea of going back to something that doesn't encourage that is actually really worrying.
I can feel and see that there's a lot of emotion wrapped around what you've just said there.
Yeah.
And what's come through for me, Kat, is, for me to ask you and you to ask yourself honestly,
Yeah.
is there any way that you can fail at being your true self?
No, and I know that actually, as long as I'm authentic and as long as I am true to who I am, I, you know, I it can't really.
But
It's but it's having that secure. I think I'm. I tend to kind of compare myself to others, and and in the career that I've been in, I've had to, because you've always had to kind of beat the next person and work your way up and strive to kind of better in that way. So when I look at people doing the same thing, and I look at my competitors out there or people that are also in their offerings, I'm at the start of my journey, but I'm then starting to compare myself to people that have established for 5-10 years, and you kind of almost think, that's what I want, but I know it's going to take time, and I know it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's just it's that security thing again that keeps coming back, that I really want to embrace holistic and this coaching from as soon as I can. If I could really ramp this all up, which I have been doing over the last 12 months, then I wouldn't go back to recruitment. But is that going to happen as soon as I want it to? That's that where that fear is underlying, that I keep seeing this almost, I'm going to have to go back to it, and I'm going to have to put this front on, and then I'm worried about how that's going to impact me emotionally and physically, mentally and spiritually. Am I then going to lose everything that I've built up and worked towards over the last 12 months?
when you say security, are you talking financial security?
Yeah, I think so. I think financial security is the biggest thing for me, because I'm not in a position where I could just walk away from a job. So
what I'm hearing you say, Kat, it's either this or it's that. I either have to be this person or I have to be that person. You're not allowing any flexibility for there to be an integration of the new you that's coming through, to allow that essence to come through into the corporate world. Yes, you wear different hats and there are different skills you need in each one, but you're almost talking it about a sacrifice. It's either this or it's that.
I think because, so back in September, the company bought us back off furlough, and we were back in work until the announcement that the furlough scheme's just been extended. So everyone that was brought back, they've actually put back on the scheme. So I went back in September, and I know how physically, like, almost I've never experienced it before, ever. It was like I all of a sudden was getting all this like anxiety and stress, and in terms of me previously, I've been a very resilient person, and I've been very good at kind of process. Like, I would always have said I don't really get stressed. I'm quite a calm character, and I deal very well under pressure. But I think me opening up and become this more kind of emotional, open person has almost kind of knocked down these walls, this guard that I've had up for so long. And I've gone into then a job where I'm kind of almost got to like build it back up, to deal with all the pressure and the KPIs and, just kind of how ruthless it is. And it made me really uneasy, and and I'm actually back on furlough now, so I feel much better. But I went through about 8 weeks of just having this kind of awful anxiety, where I was like, it just doesn't sit, it didn't sit right actually, like on my chest. I was like, and it was just that. And I think that's where the fear, because I know how I felt then.
I understand.
Yeah, going back.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, and I totally hear what you're saying. It's almost, it's broken down the identity you have projected into the corporate world, and the type of person you have to be successful in that environment.
Yeah.
It's almost like, okay, you've seen another side of yourself, and it's almost like you can't now go back to that person that you were, because it's just not aligned to your values anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And it was uncomfortable, not even just from a physical position, but actually, like, I remember having a meeting with my boss, and things that before would have just swept over. Like, I wouldn't have even raised my voice over it. I wouldn't have even flagged it. I was just like, I can't sit here anymore and listen to these kind of things being said. And it was almost like, I was like, it actually is, I don't agree with the value in, like, the moral side of this and what you're doing. And we ended up like having this massive bust up, and I was like, firstly, that's not me, because I am not a confrontational person. You know, I hate arguments, and I always shy away from it. But I was like, I just can't sit here and like not say something. And it was almost kind of like this voice just inside me was like, you need to just be honest and say what you feel. Okay, no worries.
The cards that I've picked, I've just picked some values cards here, and the three interesting cards that I've just picked. One is independence.
Yeah.
The other one is spirituality.
Yeah.
And the other one, interestingly, what does this mean to you and what you're kind of faced with now?
I think the independence piece is really is something that it's always been a very strong value of mine, and probably something that's actually been ingrained from a very, very young age. I've always been, and I've always I've always kind of prided myself on being an independent person, and you know, I think that's why I kind of settled into a relationship quite late. I got married later on, and you know, I've always kind of put my career first. I think that is definitely something that's changing now. My priorities are changing. Then the spirituality side is definitely feels like something that is the path that I have been meaning to get on for a long time, and now it's happening, and it's something that I really need to embrace. Sensuality side is an interesting one, because I wouldn't have expected that to come up, but maybe that's the only thing I can imagine and associate with this, is that because my priorities have changed, and because this independence is broken down, and I am now a lot more kind of not reliant on my husband, but I'm a lot more connected. We're kind of, now we work as a team a lot more so than, you know, he would say that I've actually changed as a person, just as a wife, as in a relationship over the last 12 months. I think there is, like, with this whole kind of guard that's been broken down, I'm becoming a lot more connected to him, you know, maybe emotionally, sexually, and just like physically. He said, you've got more time for me, you're more open with me, you're a lot like more caring. So,
and dare I say it, and I mean this as in the masculine being the corporate and the feminine being more receptive and, you know, intuitive, more feminine, in that you're in touch with your femininity more, which is possibly why you find it difficult in the corporate world that you were in, because you're shifting from the very masculine energy into the more receptive feminine energy. So it could possibly indicate the reasons why you're coming up against stepping back into that masculine role.
No, I agree. I definitely feel like this, the masculine trait in me, and that was always kind of one of my archetypes, that I definitely carried this quite strong male character in me, because the businesses that I've worked in have been 95% male. You know, I've been one of very few females. So you kind of had to actually act like a guy and be this like kind of laddish character to get on and to fit in and to adapt to the culture. That's just, I definitely feel that that's kind of really been pushed out over the last 12 months. And I'm a lot more empathetic, understanding, emotionally connected now to myself, but definitely to others.
So just staying with that side of you that is the part of you that's really opening up. Okay, so when you kind of feel into, because I do get a sense that you really feel into that person, that you're becoming that state, you know, that emotional state that embodies that kind of femininity, that receptiveness, that intuition, that caring, that kindness. When you really feel in and you live from that emotional state and that vibration, how do you feel about the statement you made earlier, am I doing the right thing?
I think it's more of a heart, like it's more of a am I doing the right thing is coming more from my heart, and it has a lot more emotions attached than if it was a head decision that I've always kind of gone with before. And again, it's just something that I am not used to. So it's almost like I need to kind of embrace this new type, you know, this new part of me that's coming through to kind of put the confidence then behind that statement. The more I embrace who I am becoming or who I was, and it's just coming through again, the more settled I'll feel with all this.
Okay, so I've just picked some other archetype cards. So these are called from the inner active cards, just to see what's going on here. And that's so interesting.
What's that one?
This is like the male and the female, Adam and Eve in a way.
Yeah.
So the two aspects of the anima and the animus merging together. And I picked this one.
Okay, what's that? What's that one?
This is a guy kneeling, but what does that mean to you if you look at that card?
Almost looks to me like someone's surrendering to something. Maybe just for me surrendering to who I am becoming or the state that I'm going into. Yeah, it looks like someone that's kind of, well, he looks defeated, but I don't feel defeated. I just feel like I am having to embrace something new.
So let's stick with the surrendering part, because I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. That surrendering part of you that's coming into the unity between the male and the female aspects of ourselves. So how does it feel to just surrender in the moment to that part of you? That part of you that doesn't measure their success, that free falls, that doesn't know if something's going to work out.
It's really interesting because that side of me is a side that I'm much more comfortable with. So I've always been very much, I've always been quite like a carefree person, if I'm honest. I always have been quite like in the moment, and what will be. And if it doesn't, you know, if things go to pot, then there will be something around the corner. Interestingly, then going into that, you know, me now and how I feel now versus how I am in work or who I have been in work, that is very much more natural to who I am and who I've kind of perceived myself to be, if that makes sense. But I feel more comfortable with that person. It feels more natural and true to me and authentic. So this whole kind of surrendering to, you know, not really knowing and actually not having these targets and not having a measurable outcome, although it is a step that, again, it's new, I enjoy it more. I enjoy the process. I'm a lot more comfortable with the process than I thought I would be. Yeah, it's I think the thing here, and we mentioned it before, it's everything I am doing right now I love, and it's the first time in a long time that I've really had the motivation to get up and get going and really kind of embrace what I'm doing. It is purely this financial security that is the concern for me.
Absolutely, and that is a realism, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not just something that we can kind of wash away and
yeah,
surrender into financial, uncertainty. That's not a healthy thing to do. So, you need to obviously have a strategy about working out your finances. Now that is something that you can sit down and do. You're a capable woman. You'll know what you need to earn and what you can do to make that happen. It's this question about, is the question around, am I doing the right thing? Because there's a couple of things that's wrapped up in, and this is something that you might want to think about, and how to separate out what's really behind this. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing because financially this is a really uncertain move for me and I could lose my house, I could lose da 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 da? Or is it, am I doing the right thing because, I'm moving so far away from the person that I've projected myself to be, that I'm just feeling quite uncertain about where this is going to take me. So there are two. There's one very realistic financial implication, and then
yeah,
the other is more of an intrinsic,
yeah,
self-doubt, which we all get. And
yeah.
so which one is more true?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter. The fact that I am moving so far away from what I've been used to and how I've comfortably operated for the last 9-10 years, to go into embracing a career that is me as me, no mask on, no front on. You're putting your raw self out there, aren't you? And that's probably just what is the scariest point for me, because I've comfortably gone into situations that I've not known anybody. I've been put in a room where I've had to socialize and entertain, and you do it with your confidence mask on and that kind of business head, whereas this is me, and it comes then down to people buying into who I am and what I do and how I operate. So yeah, it is as well this more of a fear that actually it is the true self, the fear of whether or not me as me will make this work.
When you say make it work?
So, whether or not people will want to kind of work with me or want to come on their journey with me. Yeah.
I just want you to feel into that statement for a second, Kat, because that's quite a profound realization when you get right down to the core of it. Because we've gone all around the houses just to get now to the root cause of this. It's like we've pulled away all the bricks to get to the golden nugget in the center. If I show my true self, will people accept me? Am I good enough? Yeah. So these cards really represent, as you beautifully said it, a surrendering into the aspects of you that are merging.
Yeah.
That sensuality, that merging of the anima and the animus, the female and the male aspects of our psyche and our being. This is something that you're having to become more and more comfortable with. And it is a complete surrender towards that aspect of yourself, which is which is making you feel so uncertain, because at the bottom of that is a belief that if I show my true self, am I going to be enough? Am I going to deliver?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the energy that you're working with here, because
Yeah.
finances and all that, they sort themselves out because you will make it happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that belief is something that is really internal to you, that you can start to build and build and build. And what's coming
Yeah.
through to me is how you measure your own success.
Yeah.
What are you using as a barometer to tell you that you're successful? And what you said before, Kat, is something I urge you to think about. You said before, I love it.
Mm.
I love what I do. I love working with people, blah, 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 you know, being part of their journey. How could you use that love of it to be your success barometer?
Hmm. If I don't know if this is a kind of an answer that you're looking for. I don't think it is. I mean, the way that I'm personally measuring it now, and knowing that I'm doing the right thing and that people are getting things from it, is, you know, asking for like people to write testimonials or to
Yeah,
kind
sure, of course. Yeah, that is great. You know, I always ask people to leave a review. You know,
yeah,
it's good. It's good feedback.
yeah,
But would I be doing it if I
yeah.
didn't love it?
No, of course you
So
wouldn't.
how can you use, yeah, fair enough, you want testimonials, you want feedback, that's great. You know, it
Yeah.
looks good for your business and people can look at that and see if they want to work with you. But how do you measure your own success? Let's just say you never got feedback in your life, but you
Mm,
loved what you did.
mm. It's being it's keeping it up and being continuous with it, isn't it? So, you know, in terms of kind of every morning, for example, like I'll get up and I want to talk about something, or I want to post something on my Instagram to my followers, to, you know, just to kind of encourage people to look into things a bit more and kind of think themselves about certain quotes or ideas or stuff that I put out there. So I'm always wanting to engage with it every single day. I think that's how I know that, you know, I wake up and I'm just thinking about it. It's the first thing I think about in the morning. So
How it's how you define success.
mm,
You know, we can define it in different ways. Success can look at a sales ladder and you're on top of it or you're at the bottom of it. Some people determine success like that. But ultimately, what success comes down to is how fulfilled you actually feel.
yeah, and you know, I've put this on some, you know, a couple of activities that I've done for you, but I definitely feel for the first time in forever that it is something that I am actually getting fulfillment from. I feel that, you know, for the last number of years I've got to the top of my game, and then I've always thought, oh, being at the top will make me feel fulfilled and make me feel like I've done the best that I can do. And I've got there and I felt crap, and it's weird. I've like got to the top and then almost had this like crash of just like, you feel depressed, you feel really low. And I've like moved jobs, I've moved companies, and I've never felt like it was right. I've never felt, though I've always kind of felt like there's something else to achieve or something else there. But with this, I'm, every time somebody comes, every time like I do a session, every like message that I get off people, I feel so much more like complete and happy in myself. And it is a different, like you said, it's a different perception on success, isn't it? It's not financial success, it's you're doing something to actually like contribute and give something to somebody.
So when you feel into that heart space again, where they're questioning, am I doing the right thing? Given what you've just said and how it
Yeah.
makes you feel, just ask yourself from that space again, and just maybe close your eyes and just really feel into that question that you feel comes from your heart, given what you've just said about how it makes you feel?
It's mad, isn't it? Because it's only when you talk about it that it actually is so apparent. But yeah, I do know I'm doing the right thing, and I know that I finally found what I've been meaning to be getting back onto for 10 years. I feel like I've had this 10-year blip in my life, and now I'm back on the right path and where I should have been all those years ago. So I do know that this is the right.
Okay, so staying with that, you know you are absolutely on the right path because of how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
How can you then start to remind yourself the meaning of true success and where that comes from within you, and that place of, feeling it and loving what you do and being a part of someone's journey? Can you tie those two together so you can remind yourself in the future, if any doubts start to creep in, if any insecurities around, will people accept me when I show my true self? If you can start to align your success barometer and how you treat yourself, because this is what it all comes down to, how you talk to yourself, the inner critic, become the inner support, the inner coach, how you are measuring your own level of success is, does it bring me fulfillment or not?
Yeah.
And surrendering into the transition that you're merging into, unifying the two aspects of the soul, the male and the female, because once you do that, you're in a pure channel, really. There's not one side that's stronger than the other. It's intuitive, and it's also action orientated as well, and it's a surrendering into that sensual part of you that's starting to unfold and starting to question the role that you've been playing and how you've been playing that role so far. So I know that you're going to catch up with some of the other students and do some more work around set, so we won't go any further than that. But just reflecting back on the session, what's been your biggest insight?
Yeah, sorry, by the way, if you can hear snoring, my bulldog lying here right under my feet, snoring the head off. No, it's definitely been this. I need to listen more I need to. I always tell people, listen to what your body's telling you, and listen to your gut, and listen to your intuition. And sometimes I just need to actually take my own advice. I need to actually tune in a lot more to how this is making me feel, because based on how I feel, then I can absolutely say I am doing the right thing, and this is a success. And you're right, I think I need to just flip this whole measure, the idea of how I'm measuring things, to actually, it's not going to be something that I can statistically have up on a board and look at my figures. I need to think that what am I actually getting from this, in terms of personally, kind of development wise and everything else. And if we look at it from that perspective, it's probably given me more in 12 months than my job has in the last 5 years. So
maybe, I know, because you're really good at doing vision boards, maybe it would be great for you to do a vision board around what success and fulfillment really looks like to you. What are your values wrapped around that? Because it's always good to bring yourself back to a good dose of realism. What does success really, really mean to you? What is it that you're really striving for? We can have all the material success in the world, yet feel so empty and unfulfilled and lacking in love inside, and a rich man would swap a poor man for that feeling any day of the week. So really start to create this vision of what success looks like for you, because when that inner critic comes in and says, oh, well, you didn't get a feedback, or you didn't get a testimonial of this person, therefore you've not delivered, or they didn't accept me because I showed my true self, vulnerable, shut down, go back into male mode again. Have that vision of success. Did it make me feel good? Do I feel successful in that moment? How am I measuring my self-worth?
Yeah.
All right, Kat, thank you
No,
so much.
Yeah, no, that was really great. Thank you, Emily. That was fab.
I'll catch up with you soon, okay?
Yeah.
Take care. Bye, lovely.